Hey there guys, it's the Camel again and welcome back finally to our coaster. It's been a while since we had the last episode, and basically I quickly want to explain why. So the last one was the inverted coaster, the B&M style inverted coaster, and I totally can relate to the fact that it was kind of discussion intensive, because there were a few things in this layout which were basically not good in the first in the first go, and also not in the second one, and the third one wasn't perfect either. So I kind of, wanted to just to step back a moment from the series, and honestly I had so many other series going on that were kind of a little bit more important at that point. So the criticism was kind of okay. It was most of the time it was justified, not always, but I just thought, okay, let's do a quick pause of this entire thing, because I just felt I needed to kind of focus on other things first, and also I wanted, and that's maybe the next point to talk about, I wanted to redo the coaster in terms of theming and then just pump it out in the final result. But honestly, I got stuck with this one, and it's still not finished. I won't show it in this episode as well. Maybe you can see it sometimes in the background of the time-lapse footage, but it's totally crap. I will completely redo the theming of the coaster. The coaster itself will keep as it is, because I just have to be honest to myself and say, okay, I just said we will have 3 episodes each for one coaster, then it's done. So maybe we are finally agreeing on that this B&M invert is not a good one, and so we can then in the end just say, okay, it was a good go on this one, but maybe we have to do another invert later on again when I'm a little bit more into coasters in general. But apart from that, I just wanted to mention that we will now on a more regular basis have our coaster going on. I will try to have 1 episode each week at least. There we go. And then we will see how it goes on. Maybe we have some more episodes, I don't know. I mean, like, basically, it's quite easy to pump in 1 episode and redo it, because I don't have to focus on theming. I just can build a little bit on the coaster. But yeah, so that should be it about the latest episodes. Let's go into this one, because as most of you, at least that was my feeling about the comments, wished we were going for a hypercoaster this time. And honestly, I tried at least this time to make a lot of research about this type of coaster, and the first thing I just I let the Twitch chat decide, because this layout is created while a Twitch stream yesterday evening, and so I managed to capture the raw footage, basically because this park is not that CPU intensive, so I could do the recording on a parallel basis, so that you don't have the annoying Twitch overlay the whole time going on, but this is done in a Twitch session. And so I let the chat decide for which coaster type we go, because in the game we do have a coaster type which is called the hybrid one, sorry, not the hybrid, the hyper one, which has this kind of weird cars, and I forgot already the manufacturer which it would be. And we have this one which we are building right now, which is effectively, in terms of the game itself, it's the Giga Coaster. I think it's called Rage. But it's the Giga Coaster from B&M. We do have another Giga Coaster, which is definitely the Intermin one, but in this moment, I just wanted to build a hypercoaster, and the cars from this Giga Coaster, now it's getting a little bit confusing, but these cars are basically hypercoaster cars, like typical B&M hypercoaster cars, so I wanted to go with them. I mean, obviously they are also used for the Giga Coaster, because basically in terms of layouts they are kind of similar, but just way bigger than hypercoasters in general. But in terms of size and general layout, I want to go into a layout of a hypercoaster, and I decided to go with the B&M styled again. I know we had the B&M styled inverted before, but I mean, B&M does not just do a few coasters. I mean, they are pretty big players, so it's kind of obvious that we will in the future have some more B&M coaster versions when we're going into other coaster types. But yeah, basically And this one is inspired by a lot of well-known hypercoasters. So I think most of the most of my kind of influences I get from Silver Star in the Europa Park and from Shambhalaya. Is it Shambhalala or is it Shimbolaya? I guess it's Shambhalaya, right? Anyways, you know which I mean. I mean, it, at least as far as I have seen, it's considered to be the best hypercoaster from B&M, or maybe even the best hypercoaster in the world. So definitely I took a lot of inspiration from those. But yeah, I also tried, and this is what I said at the very beginning and in kind of each and every episode, I just don't want to pump in like, you know, basic elements which you can see in, you know, hypercoasters in general, and just place them one after the other. I also wanted to create something new in a way, and this time, because of the big criticism last time, I kind of tried to keep it on a minimum. So this turn over here, which I'm currently working on, is basically the only part I haven't found in real life, because it is definitely, from the entrance of this element, it's basically the double turn, I don't know how it's called, but like the double turn one which you have at the after the first big drop at Shambhalaya, which would then go up from a left-hander into the right-hander, then go like 180 degree by 90, I think 90 degrees banked, completely around, and then back down into the other direction, so that you have kind of a double turn going upwards. And I kind of wanted to break it up in the middle of it, so that we don't go in a double turn, it's just like 3/4 of a turn. And then we go underneath the piece into this pretty well-known spoon corner, where we then go back into the direction of the lift hill and into the station. So I don't know if there is any hypercoaster out there, and I'm pretty sure there isn't, which has those two elements right after each other, because I think it's either way this element or the other element. So either way you have this kind of double turn twist, which I have no idea what the actual name of it is, but you guys, I'm pretty sure will tell me what the name of it is. And then this kind of spoon turn then would be the other one, and there is definitely just also another one out there, because this one will then cross the track again. So we will go in from the right hand side, going into the left hander, which then effectively goes into the right handed big curve, which then brings us back, but underneath the entrance of this element we go back into the other. And basically there is also the same element, but it doesn't cross the track, it just stays on the other hand side of the coaster then, so that you have this element going on next to each other instead of just on the opposite sides by crossing. But yeah, basically that's it. And as you can see, I started the layout by building it with with single pieces of 4 meter length, and I did this because I wanted to try it according to Sylph's tutorial recently, and I knew about this trick before, because Sylph also told us that he is playing around with it. But in a way, also while the stream was going on, we, and by we I mean like me and the chat, we kind of agreed that it is basically pretty stupid to take this technique for this kind of in and out layout, because like there is like no actual sense behind this smoothing technique, because you don't have pretty fast changes of direction. I kind of get back into the 4 meter tiles when we have some nice elements, for example like this hill over here, which then goes left-handed into another drop, and I try to make this as small as possible, so that, and also with a little bit exaggerated banking offset, so that we can later on have the smoothing tool not destroying the banking at all. As you can see over here as well, I'm trying to get in with those small pieces. I don't know if it's 4 meter or if I stick to 6 meters, but I think it's 4 meters. I'm not too sure. I can't see it right now because I just have the little preview image in front of me, or the little preview video. But yeah, basically I tried to remain this technique in areas where I needed it, but for the bigger up and downs I just you know, I just try to get in with the regular longer pieces, and then try to smooth it out in the end, and just try to manually redo the banking, even though I have to say that the overall smoothing was kind of difficult to do on this coaster in general, because it's for some reason the smoothing tool did weird things for me. And I also had the same problem in the Pirates Park, and I had a few experts in the chat while the stream, also recently when we made the flawless coaster, and it seems that it's kind of a weird problem I have with the smoothing tool, because sometimes I kind of use the very common techniques of building elements out of those small pieces with exaggerated kind of banking, and then while smoothing you get rid of a little bit of the banking, but in terms of the overall layout it looks good. But what the game does for me, it kind of twists the entire layout around. It gets in with some weird looking inversions, even though there couldn't be any inversions in the layout, and I think you have already seen that at the beginning of this episode, where the track completely went crazy because I just hit smoothing one time. So yeah, actually I had a few problems while smoothing, but I think in the end I came up with a pretty nice layout of this coaster. The only thing I'm not too sure about is the end of the layout. I'm pretty happy with the basic skyline of the coaster. I'm also pretty happy with how the coaster itself behaves, and I didn't provide you with a non-ride yet. I will do it in the next episode after getting in with your little improvements and ideas of improvement, and also according to your rage, which will happen. I'm pretty sure that it will happen again, but yeah, so basically I have a little bit of a panning shot over the entire layout at the end, so that you can get into detail with the layout and then just give me your ideas, and I'm pretty curious what you guys say about this layout. But yeah, in a way I tried to make this last part of the coaster also, it's also a little bit of a mixture of the last part of the Jambalaya and of the Silver Star layout, and I hope that I said Jambalaya now for the 4th time correctly. If not, yeah, it's a mistake I do for the entire episode, so please sorry for that. I should have just checked that before again. But yeah, here you can see I'm working. I wanted to work with the trim brake, but somehow the trim brake can't be in an element of 4 meters. It has to be used with 8 meters, which is kind of long, I guess. So I used the friction brakes over there, but fortunately it kind of works pretty well. I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, but it works kind of well. But yeah, in the end, I just get in with this little upwards helix over here, and then I did something which was highly requested also in the comments. It's not finished yet, but we will then go into a splashdown. I think most of you wanted to have the splashdown in the hypercoaster, and I think it's also quite common for hypercoasters to have a splashdown. So yeah, little fan service over here. Oh, Jesus, I didn't even want to say that, but yeah, I just wanted to make a little bit of a service for you guys, so that we have but either way, I also like the splashdown myself, so it's completely fine. But yeah, we are going in with the splashdown over here now, and you can see me now trying around a little bit with the level of water, so that we actually have the coaster already on a pretty nice and decent level, and then I will later on add a little bit of some concrete work around it, so that it actually looks like a real splashdown. So that was basically the intention of this last area, and then all we have after the splashdown is just a little bit of some nicely left-right handers into the final brake run then, which is also the really common brake run for hypercoasters. So we go in with a quite, I mean in terms of a brake run, with a quite steep slope into then a little bit of a straight section of the brake run, which then yeah, just helps to kind of break down the train, which still is carrying a lot of potential energy from the entire layout. So I think that makes total sense that those kind of brake runs most commonly have the kind of steep slope before then going into the straight section of the brake run. But yeah, basically that's it about the layout, and that's also about it of my explanation, and I hope you liked this episode. And yeah, now go on, be crazy, and be honest, and put down your opinion of this coaster into the comments. And yeah, don't hesitate to tell me what you think of this layout. And see you then, guys, in the next episode of this our coaster series or whatever else. Have a nice day. See you then. Bye bye. Peace out.